Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, I'll be showing you how you can deploy your Express application to Render. If you're unfamiliar with Render, Render is a cloud hosting platform primarily used for deploying web applications, including static sites and dynamic web apps, allowing developers to easily host their projects with features like automatic deployments, native language runtimes, and load-based autoscaling. Essentially, it's a service that helps developers quickly build and deploy their applications on the cloud. Without further ado, let's begin. Now, as we get started, I assume that you already have a Node.js application that is ready for deployment. Additionally, if you're using a front-end library like React.js and your backend is written in Node.js and you want to deploy that application, I would first recommend checking out my video that goes over bundling a React frontend and a Node backend so that you can follow along with this video upon watching that one. However, if you're hosting a basic Node backend like mine, then this is the right video to watch. Now for me, I have a server.js file as the entry point in my root directory. And if you have a different file name, please make sure that it is specified within your package.json file right here. And I also have a start script that uses the node command to start the server. Again, if the entry point to your service is different, then specify that entry point by writing the appropriate file name. My backend itself is very simple. It only has one route that tells the viewer to subscribe to my channel. And additionally, for the port here, it is set to process.env.port or 8080 so that when we deploy, Render will automatically assign a port for this to run. But if we're just testing locally, then my application runs on port 8080. Additionally, if you have any dependencies that your application requires to run, then please make sure that you install those. And once those have been installed, you'll see the package lock JSON file as well as the node modules folder. And now we're going to get started with setting up the Git repository for us. So to create our repository, I'm using GitHub. And for the repository name, I'm just going to title it Render Express Deployment. And then I'll just click Create. And then upon creation, you'll be redirected to this page. And then we're just going to type in our Git commands. So I'm going to do git init. And then I'll do git add, or actually, let's create a .gitignore file, and in this ignore file we're going to place the node modules folder because we don't want to push this folder to GitHub since Render is going to install the packages using the package.json file. Okay. So then we're going to do git add and dot, and let me just move it to make it easier for you guys to see, so that we're adding all of the files aside from the files that are listed within the gitignore to our commit. And then we'll do git commit, first commit, and then git branch -m main. And then I'm just going to copy the origin, and then I'll do git push origin main. And then if we refresh our page here, you can see that we have our package.json file, package lock, our gitignore, as well as our server.js file. And within this repository, we do not have the node modules, which is what we were intending to do. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over to Render, and I'm going to log in and link this repository to Render and set up deployment. Alright, so here I am on Render's website, which you can access by going to render.com. And once you're on the home page, you're going to click Get Started. And here you can sign up if you don't have an account, but since I already have an account, I'm just going to log in with Google. And upon logging in, this is my home page. So once you've signed up and logged in, you're going to head on over to Add New, and then on this dropdown, you're going to select Web Service because we're deploying our web application. And then you're going to want to connect a Git provider. So I use GitHub, so I'm going to connect with GitHub, and I'll be back once I've established that connection here. Now, once you've connected your Git provider to Render, you'll be able to select the repository. Now, for me, my repository was titled Render Express Deployment, which is this repository right here, and I'm just going to select it and then click Connect. And upon connecting this repository, we'll be able to configure some settings for our web service. So a unique name for our web service, we can leave it as Render Express Deployment. This would be the name of your site. If you'd like to configure this to something else, you can go ahead and do so. And then the language is going to be in Node, since that is the runtime that we're using. The branch is going to be main because if you remember previously, we pushed all of our changes to the main branch, or pushed all of our files to the main branch. And then the root directory. Now, since the entry point for our application is the server.js file, we do not need to configure a root directory. But if your entry point is within another folder, you may go ahead and place the path in this field right here. For the build command, we're just going to do npm install, and then for the run command, we're just going to do node server.js because we're essentially running our backend from the entry point of our application, which in this case is also server.js. And then for the instance type, I'm just going to select free. And then if you have any environment variables that you need to configure, then you may go ahead and do so here. And then we do not have to worry about the advanced configurations for the time being. And then I'll just click deploy web service. And then it's going to redirect you to this page. And upon deploying, it'll provide you with a message that says that your service is live, and I'll be back once it does. So if everything works correctly, you should have a message that says your service is live. And if you receive this, then that means that your application is online. So if you navigate near the top of this page, you will see a link that has our project's name along with a suffix that was assigned by Render. Once I click this link, you can see that our app is live and has the message instructing the viewer to subscribe. And ultimately, this sums up the deployment process of deploying an Express application to Render. And to give you a recap, we first pushed our files to a GitHub repository, then we connected that repository, configured the build and start commands, and then deployed the web service. So if this video was helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below, and I will do my best to reply to you. As always, have a nice day, and I'll see you in the next video.